Okay, I wanted to talk about a disease that's kind of prevalent today. Well, it's always with us, and it's the blame game. Uh, every civilization, every society has that. And that's that we seem to have more and more and more people who want to blame others for where they are today. And there's an industry built up around that, selling books and videos and the whole thing based on you're a victim and you're not successful because of. And the thing is and there's an old saying, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's where you are today because of what you did or didn't do yesterday. And you can continue that by saying and what you don't do or do tomorrow, today and tomorrow. And this thing of, and this allows people to hold themselves down, to not want to achieve because they're led to believe they can't because of they're fat, they're skinny, they're thin, they're the wrong color, or they have the wrong accent, or they're not good looking, they're ugly, they're this, they're that, or they are good looking, or there's always some reason that people have are encouraged to have about not making it. And we've built up in our time that I call part of that is the trophy for everything, for everybody. And that's, you have a debate or you have a sporting event or are they lower graded or whatever to make sure everybody feels good. But if you don't go up against challenges, if you don't fail, if you don't get the crap knocked out of you, you're never going to get anywhere because you're going to think you can just lie there and it'll all be okay, or you can wallow in your victimhood, blaming others. And again, and there's a novelist who's unbelievably successful now, and he wasn't a lawyer, and I won't go into his name because you're probably going to know his name, but excuse me. When he started writing, he was a practicing attorney, and he had written a novel, and it was turned down and turned down and turned down and turned down and turned down. I don't know how many times it was turned down, and he finally self-published it himself, and he drove around to independent bookstores to talk to the owners to sell the book, and that happened. And eventually, he found an agent who would work with him, and finally one of his books, not the first one but a second one, was published, and it became a great hit, and they made a movie out of it, and since then, and so forth and so on. But it would have been very easy for him to say, well, they just don't like me because I'm from this part of the country, or I don't look the right way, or I'm not part of the New York intelligentsia, I didn't go to an Ivy League college. All of those things can be held and are held against you. You can't wallow in that, and many of us do. I speak from personal experience. So what I'm saying is, life is full of disappointments and failures, and you can't blame it on somebody else. I mean, a lot of the failures are because we don't even try. Think about that. People are waiting for somebody to do something for them. Right now, today, we've gone through a bad 2 years of a pandemic, I guess, and people were quarantined, and the economies all over the world were shut down, and they're still working on doing that. And it just, and again, I'm going to go back my mother's dad, my grandfather, was in World War One, and he was a young man, of course, and he was in, I believe this is correct, he was in an artillery unit, but he was right up there. And at one point, they were even kind of cut off and so forth. But anyway, he was a young man and in World War One, and we're still coming to grips with that. Millions of people died, millions. And when he came home on the ship, they had what was called the Spanish flu, which was way worse than anything we've gone through. I believe, again, this is correct, something like 20 million people died from the Spanish flu. Not too far from here, the city of Memphis had, I don't remember, a huge percentage of its population destroyed. And Seattle and Chicago and New York and so forth and so on. So, but he was of a type. He came home, he started his own business, he married a wonderful woman, my grandmother, and they started a family, and they went through all of that. They didn't really blame other people, and they were living in a part of the country that was the most poverty-stricken part of the United States. But he hammered his way through that, and then through the Great Depression and so forth and so on. And I use that as an example, but it would have been, and some people did. I mean, they would say, well, there's just nothing I can do. It's all over, it's done with. I can't make it. Yeah, and people do that. People have done that. And they want somebody to pick them up. And we didn't settle this country, we didn't build a civilization because there were people who would give up or blame somebody else. Actually, they were trying to get out under the thumb of people who wanted to hold them down and keep them from becoming what they wanted to become. And that's the thing. Right now, today, everybody wants an easy way, and an easy way is wonderful, but we're all looking for that, yours truly included. And the fact is most of the time in life there is no easy way unless you inherit money. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who inherit money use it all up because they don't really appreciate what the person went through, who gave them the money, and so forth. Now, some people maintain it and so forth. But the thing is blaming others for where you are is a no-win situation. And you have to learn to fight through that and stand up. Find out what you want to do. Be what you want to do. The other thing is everybody wants to be president of the corporation. Well, if you really knew what it took to become the president of the corporation, people either want to hate that person or they want to be that person, but they don't really want to do what that person has to do. And running a huge company is really hard work. I mean, it is not easy, and it's not easy to get there. And sometimes people get there who cheat and so forth. That's true. And they backbite and they do corporate infighting or in academia or in the government or wherever. And that's always been with us. It always will be with us. But you can't say, oh my God, everything's against me because they cheat. Well, people cheat. They always have. And you have to do what you can do. The only thing you can do is the best you can do. And this has been said before, be the best waiter, be the best doorman, be the best taxi cab driver, be the best salesman, be the best teacher, be the best Burger King salesman. I mean, seriously, that people look down their nose at that. But I personally know of some people who started off doing that in high school and went on to own several burger franchises, and they're quite well to do. But it takes work, and you have to do that. My dad always says, you can always make money if you'll do what other people aren't willing to do. And that's a true statement. So many of us because of our dignity or this or that or whatever, we don't want to get our feelings hurt. We don't want to hear the word no. I mean, there are so many of us that just run in fear from the word no. And then we want to be approved by everybody around us. And if we're not approved, then we're just crazy, you know. So this is kind of a little rant, but it's all part of the foundations of our civilization were built by people who knew that they could fail, who would take failure and pick themselves up and move on. And sometimes they never saw the fruits of their labor. They never did, but they kept plugging away, you know, and that's what you have to do in life. You have to get up in the morning, make your bed, eat your breakfast, go to work. I encourage you to go to work. I'm an old guy and doing this right now, and this is not work for me. And so on. But if you can, find something you like to do. If not, if somebody's paying you, do the best you can. And then the world will change in ways you will not expect. But having a grudge and blaming everybody else for this or that doesn't do you any good. Well, I guess it does some people some good because it makes them feel better, but it doesn't do you any good productively. And once again, I have gone too long on another rant, but y'all have a nice day.